Hello and welcome to another Draw With Me video. You can see I've already done the drawing. These are the two next panels of page number 2 of my comic. And as you can see, I always draw them as single images, so that afterwards I set the panels together on the computer. If you are a Patreon supporter of the comic, you also get to see the thumbnailing, how I prepare before I make single drawings. Anyway, I am going to show you how this is going to look like colored, if you don't know the comic. Actually, I think it is a little bit soon to assume that someone knows the comic, as I've only done like the cover and one finished page so far. I'm quite slow. If you're making something as a passion project that doesn't pay, you cannot ignore the bills. You have to take the page up. Passion has to wait. Anyway, this is usually how stuff turns out. This was the very first drawing I did. One of the main characters. So the cover art or the pseudo cover art. And this is how they are supposed to look like when they are colored. So you can see these are the same people. You have this one as the young boy here, and this one as the elderly here. Just let me show you this one as well and explain a little bit. So far, this is the biggest one that I have drawn. And you might ask, why do I draw my comic in single images like this and not in the panel? But I think it gives me kind of freedom to just draw, and if I mess up I can renew it, or I can draw it twice or whatever. If I have a new idea, just make a new idea. I'm not bound to what I originally drew on the page. Like, for example, I can draw the 4th panel, then I see, I'm repeating a posing, so I can redo the first one and just put a new one in digitally. And I got neat little artworks, which I even plan to sell later on. In this Let's Draw With Me video, I'm not only going to talk, I wanted to show you my technique of how I make this airbrushy feeling. I already talked about it in my not the Let's Draw video, but the video where I'm drawing the watercolor tree. At the end I use the same thing for the blue sky. I already explained that it's for me like a poor man's airbrush. So this is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to leave this video open so that it is not only for my Patreon subscribers, because let's be honest, currently I don't have a lot of Patreon subscribers, and if I leave all the content locked, you will not be able to see what you could get for your $5 supporting me and the comic. So let's get this thing started. So usually I have this. Let's just show the whole box. Here is my whole box. These are pastel colors, and they are dry pastels, and I don't draw with them on the paper, but I grate or scrape off a tiny little bit of the color and make me a fine powder. Let's just make this one a little bit more. And yes, I want to make both at the same time. For once. Usually I don't do that, but then I just take me a piece of toilet paper. You can also have something much more fancy to smudge this stuff around, but usually toilet paper does the trick. And that's all there is to it. And just like that, you work similar as in watercolors. You make layer per layer per layer per layer, just until you have what you want it to look like. So, you've seen those are a little bit more brownish, red brownish in color. And the good thing about this technique, well, at least what I've seen for my own process, is because you cannot work very exactly. Let me change the, this is a little bit better, you can see a little bit more what I'm doing. So the good thing about this technique is you cannot work too precisely. So you get a really rough color base to work on later on with your pencil colors. Or I've even done this, that I worked over this with acrylics. Because it is soft pastel, you have to use some sort of fixative before you continue drawing on it, because otherwise it will just smudge around all the time you're working on it. So there's no shame in going over the lines and just having a cloudy spread of the colors you want to have. So let's make another one. The more layers you make, the darker your color gets, the more intense your color gets. So you have to decide on how much color you already want to have through the pastel and how much you're going to add through drawing with the pencil colors. But I think I'm going to make this my last layer, so I'm also going to add the little bit darker brown. So the one was the reddish brown, and this one is a very dark brown. Just as every other color, if you have those powders at the same time, they are going to mix. Obviously. So I'm just smushing this around. I really hope that my new way of recording sound works, because I'm just talking to my iPhone right now, which is lying in front of me. As I've noticed that the webcam sound for these videos is not really that nice to listen to. So I really want the audio quality to be enjoyable as well. Oh, I forgot that I was in a close-up. Sorry for that, people. So this is the color I have on my characters right now. And now we're going to do the same for the background first, and then we do the blue robe of the elderly one. I don't know if the camera is going to record that. If sometimes there are some jump cuts in the video, it's just because my camera did something weird and I had to cut that out, because otherwise it would have get some eye cancer. And here we go again. Let's just take this one a little bit up and go. also with this technique is you just have to take the result as it comes out. So usually I do this and then I put my drawing aside for some time. I have one day where I make this color ambience and another day where I start the pencil color so that I can have time to adjust to the new image. So like it's not a blank page anymore, it is a page with colors on it already, and I have to work another layer of colors on it. And be rough. It's better to have the green going a little bit into the figure or the brown coming a little bit out of the figure than having too much white spots on the page. This is meant to really cover one base layer of color. Then with this one I'm also going to color all this side in. As you can see, I've prepared it because he's going to talk a lot and there's going to be a speech bubble beside him, and I want to have enough space to work with when I put it together digitally. So I have just color that I can cut to the size where I want it, and what I don't need, I just cut it out. But at least it is there, I can work with it. You can see this is just going to become a really big green color field. And still, even if you're just smudging it around, be careful of your movement. So if you just smudge it like this, it might be that you keep the stripes of some bigger chunks of chalk on your paper. So if you smudge it in a circular motion, the chances of having mistakes the chalks randomly make is less. And I know that I have to add some background on the next panels, because green is nice to show that they are in a forest, but still I think that they deserve a little bit more visual background, don't you? So you can even see how roughly I'm working on this. So don't fear to start something. So the last thing we're gonna do is put a little bit of blue for this guy's robe. I'm not going to tell you who he is. You're going to find out very soon. Even though these videos are about my comic, I'm not going to spoiler anything for you. I mean, at least you've seen him on the first page already. You know that he's going to be there, so that's no spoiler. So, there we have it. Now let's put some fixative on these. So, just going to make a quick outro video. I wanted to thank you for watching this draw with me. I just wanted to inform you that last weekend Yana and I recorded a drawing madness session, and I still have to see what I'm going to do with the video footage. I don't know if it is the connection between Google Hangout and OBS, but her video footage is fluent, is fine, and mine is somehow just, it jitters a lot, or it's just like, you can see my drawing, then it stops drawing, and then it restarts after 5 minutes. I don't know, the audio quality is fine, so that is my reason why I don't want to waste it, because we really had a good, we had a good session. We did some fan art drawing. She did a mixture of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Sailor Moon, and I did a C18 drawing of Dragon Ball, and it was really fun. It was a really good session. So I'm planning on using it. I just have to see how I'm going to deal with my video footage being quite useless. So maybe you're just going to see much more of her work, but you can still at least get our podcast. And this was everything for this little draw with me video. I hope you enjoyed seeing my poor man's airbrush technique a little bit more in detail. I'm just a little bit concerned because my comic is going so slow at the moment. Actually, I wanted to have it like 1 page every 2 weeks. I think now it's already 4 weeks gone, and I have like 2 panels in the making of the next page, and the next page has as well 4 panels. I have jobs that pay. I had the fabulous idea to participate in the National Writers Month, the Camp Nano. So when I've done with my illustration job and animation job, I have to write, because I have a goal of 20,000 words this month to reach. So there's a lot of time that goes to other projects that cannot go into the comic, so I'm a little bit slow on that. But still, it's rolling. I have my script, and I'm just gonna go with the flow. When I have more time, I'm going to be more active again. Just take what I get. Thank you for being patient, and see you next time. Bye!